Welcome to practice. It's a really chilly morning in my lounge room, but we're going to start sitting, and you could be kneeling or sitting with your legs out in front, and we'll take the arms out from the shoulders. So one shoulder goes forward and turn the palm up, and then the other shoulder from side to side. And really reach the length of the arm, the width of the chest, and keep the neck nice and easeful, but enjoying lovely moving stretch. Good. And then start the arms moving up a little to keep the rotation in the shoulders. And really try to reach out through the arms. All the way up. And then all the way back down to shoulder height. See how they want to go forward. Try to keep them at the side. Good. And then releasing. And little spinal waves now. Forward and back. Notice if there's part of your back that feels more stuck than other parts of your back. And just sit up for a moment and bring your attention to that place. Good. And then try and make the waves around that spot. And the rest of the body can just follow. But around that spot. Forward and back. And then let the waves emanate from there. Like the concentric circles when you drop a pebble onto still water. Feeling the movement, the warmth through your whole body. Nice. And then the other direction. Great. And we're going to be stepping forward and back on the mat in a moment. So you can always take a chair at the front, but we'll just start here in all fours. Hands nice and wide, fingerprints pressing, and a little rocking back and forth. So that's going to be stretching the wrists a little. Good. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees. So you're still rocking back and forth. And explore that movement. So you can slow it down. Taking your hips back as far as they'll go, your shoulders forward as far as they'll go, but keeping that nice sense of ease in your body. And like those little movements we were doing in the spine, feeling the movement flow in the whole body with each breath. Good, and then we're going to take little steps forward. And when you run out of room, you're going to roll up. All the way up. Thumbs up. And then Tadasana. Nice. Now, let's all take a chair. Even if you don't normally use one for putting your hands on the floor. Just to start off to get that feeling. My chairs are very wobbly. of jumping lightly. So hold on to your chair. You might curl your fingers over the side or have them flat. And when you jump, try and have a moment of weightlessness, almost like that pause between the in and out breath or out and in breath, where you stop being lifting just before you fall back down again. Just notice that moment of weightlessness. Jump your feet all the way to the back of the mat and then downward facing dog pose. And letting your body lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Good. And then we're going to do little jumps forward again. However it feels good. And Uttanasana. So in Uttanasana, it might be uncomfortable to put your head on your hands on the seat of the chair. You can use the back of the chair here. Or maybe just holding and reach the top of the head forward. We want to ease to the back, certainly. So wherever it feels most comfortable to reach the head forward. You might straighten through the legs alternately. Good. And then hands back, seat of the chair, and little jumps back again. Hips back. Lengthening the rib cage. Breathing deeply. Good. And then little jumps forward again. The weightless jump. Uttanasana. Resting your head. Good. And then rolling up, arms up. And Tadasana. Great. Now I'm going to try without the chair, but you can keep it there. Because we're going to do something similar, but with hands on the floor. So if you know that's going to be too much on your body, keep the chair. Tadasana. Urdhva Hastasana. Uttanasana. Nice big stretch in the legs, but ease in the spine. And see how you go. So it might be hard to jump from there. Maybe you need to step back a little bit. Downward facing dog pose. Oh, okay. We're going to hold this for a few breaths. So get your hands organized. Fingers out wide. Press the fingerprints. And start to swing your hips from side to side. So you can emphasize the stretch in the back of the legs by keeping the heel pressing down. But also in the sides of the torso by how far you let your hips swing. Enjoy the flow of your breath. The ability to keep your neck at ease. And then back to center and feeling centered. Good. And then little hopping forward until you run out of room. And then rolling up. Arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. And Tadasana. Good. We're going to do one more of those. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. Good. And little weightless jumps back to downward facing dog pose. Pressing the heels, lifting the kneecaps, the quadriceps, let your head just hang down. Enjoying each breath. The flow of the breath. Good. And little weightless jump. The front. coming up when you run out of Urdhva and Tadasana. Good. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. Big step back with the left foot. And we want a big enough distance between the lined up heel and center of the back foot inner arch so that you can bend your right leg. Good. And we're going to lift the torso up and put your elbow or your hand on your knee. Roll your left hip back. Play around with dropping the hip, but feel like you've got really good internal muscular support. So you're really lifting the pelvic floor, the lower front abdomen, and rolling the left rib back and looking up at the ceiling. Ah, good. Take the left arm by the left ear. Breathing. Good. We're going to swing that left arm behind the torso. Reach for your right hip. Reach as far as you can. Looking up, lengthening the neck, drawing the shoulder blades away from the neck. Deep breath. Nice work. Let's swing the arm back to the front, facing front. Good. So we're in a long lunge. We're going to step forward, lift up, and balance on the right leg. Even if it feels wobbly. Okay, so left toes can be near the floor, or you can lift that leg high. You might have your hands pressing in front of the heart or holding your knee. Let's try bending a little bit with standing leg. And straightening. And bending and straightening. We try to keep that leg feeling really stable so the knee joint feels stable. Pretty tricky to do. For me, at least. Tadasana. Good. Inhale. And as you exhale. Tadasana. Uttanasana. Standing forward bend. And a big step back with the right foot. So we want that nice big distance from the heel to the center of the right foot inner arch. The left knee is going to be bent, and we're going to put either the left hand or the elbow onto that knee. Right hand at the right hip. Roll the right hip back. Roll the right rib back. Good. And bring the right arm by the right ear. The whole rib cage is rotating the right rib back so that the heart is opening towards the ceiling. We can feel that flow of breath. The awareness in the feet, the strong legs, the lift of the core of the body. Beautiful. Take your right arm, swing it behind you, and reach behind you as far as you can in the direction of your left. Really opening the heart now. Draw the shoulder blades down, so keep the back of the neck long, and you're breathing. Nice work. Right arm by your right ear, and then swing it back to the front of the mat so you can face forward. We're going to step forward, lift up, and balance onto the left leg. Taking your balance hold. And keeping the knee really stable. Just a little bend and straighten in the left leg. Why is it hard? Because it's double the work. All right. Tadasana. Feeling the flow of breath. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana, we're going to hold this for a few breaths. So maybe it would feel better to put your hands up higher, maybe up on your thigh, so that you can really explore that long and easeful feeling for the spine. So we don't want to overstretch the skin of the spine. So the top of the head reaching forward or down to the floor. Lifting your kneecaps, your sit bones. Breathing deep. Good. Place your hands down onto the floor now. Look forward. Good. Step the left foot back. And this time for Trikonasana, so straight leg. And you're going to try and keep your right hand on your support. So on the floor, or maybe you're up on the seat of the chair. And put your left hand on your hip. And see if you can swing the left hip back. Turn the left ribs back. And open the heart towards the ceiling. So we're in a pretty strong Trikonasana here. Lift the kneecap. Good. And if it feels all right, you don't feel too twisted in your upper back, then we'll take the left arm up as well. Try to keep your shoulder blades away from your skull so that there's room. And breathing deeply. Reach behind you with that left arm. See if you can touch your right hip or in that vicinity. Good. And then swing that arm all the way back to the front of the mat. Turn to look to the front. Turn your back foot so you're facing forward. We're going to step forward, lift up, balance on the right foot. All right. Now, either you're going to keep your tiptoes on the floor and turn your left knee out. You might want to put your foot in front a little bit, left foot in front of the right. Or you're going to put your left heel on your right knee. Good. And then we're going to bend a little into the right leg. I've got the hands in front of the heart, pressing, shoulder blades drawing down. Good. And lifting up and releasing. Good work. Tadasana. 2 feet on the floor. Inhale, arms up, look up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. Oh. Right foot steps back. And we're going to be in Trikonasana. So your right heel intersecting or lining up with the left heel. Good. And see if you can straighten your legs. And keep your left hand onto the floor. So you might be used to doing your Trikonasana with your hand somewhere along the leg. We're just seeing what kind of movement we can find this morning. All right, right hand onto the right hip and see if you can roll the right hip back, the right rib back. Try to open the heart up towards the ceiling. Good. Draw the shoulder blades to the back waist. If you have room and it feels all right for your neck, take your right arm up. Breathing deeply. Good. Take the right hand behind you. Reach as far as you can to the left hip. So you can help to really turn the rib cage now. Feel the ribs expanding with the breath. Good. And then we're going to release. So windmill the arm back to the front of the mat. Turn to face forward. Turn the back foot forward so that we can step forward, lift up and balance. And either right tiptoes just in front of the left with the knee turned out, a little bit of a bend in the left knee, or the right heel goes onto the left knee and we bend that leg. left leg, sorry, I should say. Hands are pressing, shoulder blades are reaching down. Good, and then releasing that side. Nice. Part the feet wider than your hips. Heels, toes out wider than your heels. And try to put your arms out in front. So for squatting, and as you start to bend your knees and drop your hips, we want to really feel the pelvic floor lifting, the lower belly lifting, but keep the heels down. Only go so far as you can keep your heels down. And then we press into the heels and lift back up. Good, and then again. Heels stay down. And one more time. Heels down. Keep the heels down, keep the pelvic floor lifting. And really press into the heels to lift back up. Great. And then we're going to sit down. Maybe you use that sequence of moves to sit down without using your hands, or whatever sequence of moves you use to sit safely with ease. Just feel your joints nice and fluid, easeful. You feel like there's a flow in the body. Everything connected. Of course it is. Sitting up onto your blanket now. We're going to make little circles and think about the diaphragm. So it's at the bottom of the rib cage, and it's a sling of muscle. And when we actually come back to center, so we're still for a second, when we breathe in, so take a big breath in, that sling of muscle presses down into the belly cavity and it expands the belly. And then when we breathe out, it retracts into the lung cavity. So just take a couple of deep breaths before we resume our circle. Where the movement of the diaphragm. And it makes sense, doesn't it, that if we keep all the joints around and between the ribs more mobile, that our breathing will be more effective. Our heart won't have to work as hard. It pays to take deep breaths that move the diaphragm, move the ribs. All right, so that's what the circles are going to help with. So back to circles with the diaphragm as your focus. And we're kind of trying to keep the diaphragm parallel to the floor. And let your whole body follow along. So we focus on moving the diaphragm as much as you can and let the whole body follow along. Good, and then the other direction. And you might notice that this is having a big influence on those little spaces, muscle, connective tissue between the ribs, around the ribs. Good. And back to center. Nice. Another beautiful way to keep space there between the ribs is twisting. So we're going to take the right hand to the left leg or left side and turning to your left. And of course, when we follow instruction in yoga class or whatever kind of practice, the mind works first. Okay, body, turn to the left. But then really bring your attention to your body into lengthening between your, lengthening the discs between your vertebrae, into turning the ribs a little more. And notice where your body says, okay, that's enough. All right. But then bring your attention to your breath, to that movement of the diaphragm. When you breathe in, the diaphragm moves into the belly. Feel the belly expand. And when you breathe out, feel the diaphragm retract into the lung cavity, and look at all that room to move the belly and the ribs and the middle back. So there's so much potential movement with each breath that didn't seem to be there before until we unlock this incredible ability to tune into the breath. Okay, now you're going to keep your right hand on your left leg. Lift your left arm up by your left ear and really reach your left rib. So we haven't let go of that lovely turning of the rib cage. But we're going to start to lean the torso, the right rib, out and over the right thigh. So for some people, that will be a smaller movement. You're listening to your back, of course. And for others, it might be a big movement where you can lay out along the thigh. So in your range of movement, but then bring your attention back to your breathing and see if there's a little more turning of the ribs, a little more potential to feel longer, more at ease, to open the space between the ribs. Good, and then inhale. Coming up. I always feel that's like a journey to another planet. Easily pleased. All right, so we'll swap the cross of the legs and turn around to the right side. Simply following instructions. But then notice the difference when you really start to pay attention to your body, to lengthen, to make more space between the ribs, to be able to relax your neck. And then how about when we pay attention to the breath? Whoa, really aware of the movement of the diaphragm and all of that potential and space. Okay, now we're going to keep our strong turn to the right side. Keep your left hand on your right leg. But take your right arm up by your ear. Lift as high as you can in your right ribs. Make space. Good. And then we're going to start to head our left ribs over the left thigh. So don't lose the turn of the rib cage. So just reaching to where your back allows. Some people will be able to lay the ribs out and over the left thigh. Start heading your left shoulder onto the floor in front of your knee. And with that awareness of the breath, what can you find? More potential for ease and space in the body, a little more lengthening, a little more turning, feeling the breath. The life force. And then coming up. And back to center. Wow. We're going to do circles again with the spine. This time, let's have a different focus. So find your belly button and then find a vertebra behind your belly button. So we've moved down a little bit and we're going to make circles with that level of the body. And think about the vertebra more than the belly button. Let the belly button follow. Let the whole body follow. You might notice that this is a different experience than when we were doing the diaphragm. And of course, you can do this with each bone of the spine and in the other direction. These spinal wave movements and these kind of circles come from the primal movement form of practice. But they tie in very nicely with yoga, with feeling the flow of breath. Yeah. Did we stop directing? Do that. Great. And then we're going to let it. Okay. We're going to take the left heel, right knee, and bring the leg in towards your chest. Been working a little bit on these. I thought here we might just rock from side to side. And something that will do is lengthen the lower back. So you can feel the shape of the pelvis, it sort of walks away from the middle back. So we're lengthening the lower back, as well as testing out the flexibility of the hip. All right. The movement is to try and bring the right knee closer to the right shoulder and have an intention to move the left knee away. Now we lengthen the lower back, press it into the floor and feel the belly hollow. The gut is pressed towards the spine. There's a gentle holding there. All right, now we can make it stronger if you want to. That's the left left heel slides down in front of the right thigh. The more of a half-loaded position. And some people will be able to straighten that right leg as well. Otherwise, you stay in this beginning position with the heel on the knee and letting the shape of the posture be in your body. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is try to, in this pose, hopefully, is lift the lower back away from the floor. Really supercharges the stretch, lifting the lower back away from you. Good. And then we're going to release that. Get back down onto the floor. All right, let's take the right heel onto the left knee and bring the legs in towards the chest, holding in a way that feels appropriate. So your head and your shoulders are still relaxed on the floor. Try your rocking a little bit from side to side. Ooh, lengthening your lower back. A little bit of extra stretch. Good, coming to center. Try to bring the left knee towards the left shoulder, the right knee away from the right shoulder. Good. Now that might be plenty of stretch for your body. If you do need more, Bring your right heel closer to the front of the left hip. So Baddha Padma, half loaded position. And even straighten the left leg. Your body wants to go there. All right, so the lower back is pressed to the floor for this part, and even really pressed so you can feel the gut sink towards the spine. We get that little massage for the gut. Breathing deeply. Good, and then we're going to lift the lower back away from the floor, so just the lower back. Ooh, it's so much stronger in the leg. But everything else stays relaxed. Okay, and then release. Ooh. All right, we're going to take the arms out from the shoulders. Inside edges of the feet together, knees together. Lift the hips and swing them left, and the knees go right. You know, really focus on the core strength of your body and lift your feet and lift your knees just off the floor. Good, and you can make that stronger if you like. You can take your top leg out to straight, keep your knees together, or maybe both legs out straight. I can just sink back down onto the floor if I try that one. So keep the neck easeful, the shoulders easeful. Good, so strong core and good core awareness, lifting the legs back up to center. Lift the hips, swap them to the right side. Knees go left, and just be passive for a moment. Feeling the shape of the pose. And then really aware of your strong, powerful core, and lifting the feet just off the floor, the knees just off the floor. Good. If you want to take that further, you can. The right leg out to straight. Maybe you can do your left leg too. But don't go so far that you're really tensing your shoulders and your neck. Trying to hold and try to direct the power that's needed from the belly. Good. And then releasing. Nice work. Back to center. A little inversion, little bamboo pose to finish. Blanket under the hips. Legs balanced. And if you find you really can't just balance your legs there, it's uncomfortable or you're overusing your core or your back, just put your feet on the floor with that little support under to relax the lower back. Otherwise, you're balanced. And you can also put your arms, whatever your shoulders need. For me, it's this cactus arms position, elbows out from the shoulders, backs of the hands towards the floor. Sometimes it feels really nice to do this pose just with your hands resting on the belly. That tactile sense helping you to feel the breath. Feeling the flow of breath, the flow of energy in your body. Feeling part of the flow of energy. One cosmos. And bring your focus back down to yourself. to each breath, to the feeling of laying in bamboo pose, and of now wriggling your hands a little and bending your legs so you can roll to your right side. Mm. And coming up to sitting. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. Get the feeling of the practice. Namaste.